Listen, this is the one. You know, like I said, God don't make no mistakes. It's the reason why He waited all this time to put me on this stage with another all-time great like Canelo, with 2 Hall of Famers going head-to-head, you know, and one of the biggest events in the last 20 years. I'm looking forward to it.
Why is it important for this fight to be held here in Las Vegas for the first time at Allegiant Stadium?
Well, you know, hey, why not? You know, Vegas is home to it's the mecca of boxing. You know, so why not have the first fight at Allegiant Stadium, Terence Crawford and Canelo going head-to-head with each other? Can't be no bigger than that.
I was going to say, when you look at you and Canelo, what do you see in him that will present a challenge for you to overcome to get the win here?
I don't know. We got to see come fight night. We can't predict the things that's going to be a challenge for us because we never been in the ring with him. So,
is there anything that impresses you about him, though? The fights that you've watched?
Everything impressed me about Canelo. I'm a big Canelo fan. You know, this is business. You know, like I said in the last press conference, I'm coming to take everything we got.
Terence, why'd you step to him on the second face-off?
Oh man, there's some things that I heard, you know, that I wasn't, happy with.
Terence, we always ask fighters after a fight, we'll say, who's next on your mind? Or
I'm not thinking of that.
I'm not going to answer what I was going to say is, now that this match is made, can you tell us how long you've been thinking about this fight?
Well, I've been thinking about this fight before I moved up to 154. You know, like I said, I want to go straight from 147 to 168 because, you know, it never been done before. Fighters have went up 2 weight classes, but I don't think any fighter have went from 147 to 168 to fight pound for pound top 5 fighter like Canelo in the history of the sport of boxing.
Terence, he had to go at your resume.
I just think, you know, we have to see. You know, when you're in the ring, when you think that you have certain strength over a fighter, it don't be like that. You know, that's why you got to make your adjustments and you got to, you know, change it up along the fly.
What's the biggest challenge moving up to 168? Do you plan to bulk up a little bit, and is there a balance to find between bulking up and quickness and keeping your speed and stuff?
I don't think I'm having any challenge. You know what I mean, with any of that right at the moment.
Terence, how do you feel about the noise surrounded by Jake Paul, him consistently going at Canelo and yourself, and the whole build up to the fight?
Oh, I ain't even hear him. I don't pay attention to things like that. You know. Congratulations on Jake Paul and his career, what he's doing with his career. He wanted to draw attention to his fight. That's all. That's how I take it.
Now, on the recent podcast, Canelo had a shot at your resume and said you have faced no one. But since you could be a 3-division champion, do you take offense to that, and do you plan on going back at him?
No, if I haven't faced anyone, you know, after I beat him, then what they're gonna say? I still ain't faced no one. So I don't know how you can become the first male boxer to become a 2-time undisputed champion without facing anyone. So,
what do you think about all the promotion? I know it's a huge fight, but have you ever been on something like that? Tree like press tour all over the world?
Yeah, for sure. Me and Spence did a press tour. You know, me and Madrimov, we did a crazy press tour, building the fight, and commercials and all that stuff. So, you know, like I said, this is nothing new. Me and Postal, me and Amir Khan, like, I'm not new to this, like a lot of recent Canelo fighters that he's been in the ring with.
Terence, I remember interviewing you before. You were on an undercard of a Mike Alvarez fight years ago on the Mandalay Bay, and you talked a lot about studying the old school, being sort of a student of the sport, if you will. Where does this match, in your mind, rank with some of the great matches that you become fond of?
A lot of them. You know, when you look at Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler, you know, him been out the ring for the time that he been out and come back and fight a bigger guy in a bigger weight class and be successful. You know, that's why I look at things like that.
As a boxer and a businessman, why is it important to have big fights like this for the sport itself?
It keeps the sport going. You know, a lot of people want to see things like this. You know, they want to see if, you know, this fighter can go up to this weight and beat this fighter. If you ask any of the top fighters in the boxing world right now, and you say who your top 5 pound for pound boxers in the world, you know, most of them gonna have me number 1 or number 2. You know, and being the best pound for pound fighter in the world is that you can beat any fighter, you know, at any weight if you was at their weight. You know, that's why it's pound for pound. So I just felt like, you know, me, if I can be at the same weight or make the same weight as a fighter, then I should be able to beat him because I'm number 1 in the world.
Terence, how do you feel about Oscar De La Hoya criticizing you two sitting down for dinner with Turki alalshikh and saying he wants more beef in this promotion?
You know how the mob do it. They'll feed you, then chop your head off right after. So, hey, listen, he can say whatever he want. You know, that's his opinion. You know, I don't care.
Did you enjoy the dinner?
Hey, listen, I didn't even eat.
Oh, you didn't eat nothing?
I didn't even eat.
Okay.
Do you think a fight like this kind of sets the table, sets the path for other big fighters to get together with different promoters and make big fights, not just...
Well, listen, if you've been following, you know, what Turki has been doing in the sport of boxing, then you already, you know that he's been taking fighters from all the promotional companies and fighting them with each other. If it wasn't for Turki, none of these fights that's been going on would happen. So, you know, a lot of people got to take their hats off and thank Turki for stepping in the sport of boxing and trying to, you know what I mean, change the narrative in the sport that's been corrupted for a long time.
Terence,
How many phone calls have you gotten from the GOATs, from the greats, you know, giving you advice or just want to give you a little piece
Man,
of
listen, man, you know, it's well respected. You know, they appreciate what I'm doing and congratulate me. That's it.
The fight's 3 months away, but how are you feeling in shape, your training, how it's going compared to other times where you said, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life? Where are you right now?
I'm feeling good. You know, it's a working process. You know, you don't want to be feeling better in the best of your life right now. You got so long to go. You know, you're gonna burn yourself out. You know, we've been doing this for a long time now. You know, it's a marathon, not a race. So come fight time, we'll be gravy ready.
You mentioned this is the boxing mecca here in Las Vegas. Is there anything that kind of comes to mind, a memory, a cool fight that you had, or something you go, you know what, this is Vegas and it's boxing?
I had to go back to Spence. You know, Spence was the one. Matter of fact, in this arena, you know that, you know, you can feel the energy and the build up and everything that's surrounded. Like, all right, you know, this is the one.
Nothing like Vegas, huh? The electricity, you cut it with a knife.
Nothing like Vegas.
Terence, do you feel as if you, I think the answer is obvious, but can you, in your words, how you've etched yourself into boxing history and lore, if you will?
I don't think I itched myself into anything. I think I worked myself into boxing. I earned everything that I got. Nothing was given to me. I took everything that belongs to me. Nothing was handed to me. I didn't have no, you know, here you go, or let's do this, let's do that. Everything was worked for. So, you know, I can appreciate everything that I have.
Terence, your press conference is on before the UFC. Have you seen any of those guys in the main event before? Ilia Topuria says he thinks his boxing can compete with you guys. Have you seen any of Ilia Topuria?
No, I ain't never seen it.
Okay, last year.
UFC years ago, some will say stole the spotlight from boxing, and boxing fell behind the shadows. What's your thought of the marriage of bringing UFC and boxing together, and what you've done to keep it in the spotlight?
I think it's great that, you know, UFC and professional boxing is coming together as a combat sport, you know, to make combat sport bigger. You know, UFC